The stillness after the storm. There is a moment, after everything has fallen apart, when the world feels impossibly still, not peaceful, not quiet in the ordinary sense, but a stillness that presses against the chest, heavy and unnatural, as though the air itself is holding its breath. It is the calm that arrives after repeated betrayals, after dreams have been shattered, after the familiar patterns of disappointment have carved their grooves into your mind, the kind of stillness that whispers something has changed and nothing will ever be the same. Imagine a person sitting alone in a dimly lit room, not out of choice, but because the world has been rendered unrecognizable by experience. Each loss, each fracture of trust has chipped away at the raw edges of their spirit. And yet, in this brokenness, a new clarity emerges. Not warmth, not comfort, but a vigilance, a quiet intensity that radiates from within. It is a calm that is as dangerous as it is profound, a stillness forged in the fires of repeated pain. This is not peace, it is survival. It is the psyche's response to being broken too many times, a hardened detachment that shields the self from further injury. The emotions have been tempered into something sharper, quieter, more deliberate. Like a volcano that has long lain dormant, the pressure builds beneath the surface, invisible, unstoppable, like the depths of the ocean where immense forces are contained within the silent, dark expanse. This calm hums with a potential energy that those who have not endured would never recognize. History and literature whisper of this same quiet mastery. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, wrote of enduring hardship with unyielding dignity, turning suffering into a teacher rather than a tormentor. Writers and philosophers from Montaigne to Nietzsche have borne personal tragedies that bent but did not break them, forging a reflective stillness that transformed pain into insight. It is a calm that commands attention, not through noise or fury, but through its very absence. And yet there is something unsettling about it. To those who witness it without understanding, it appears as indifference, or worse, as a subtle threat. For this calm is a paradox. It is both the residue of suffering and the seed of latent power. It suggests a mind that has learned to observe without reacting, to endure without complaint, and when necessary, to strike with precision. What does this quiet reveal about human nature? Why does it unsettle those around us? These are the questions that linger in the air, thick and unspoken, as we step further into the psychology, philosophy, and hidden dynamics of the dangerous calm. It is a calm that is never merely calm. It is the eye of the storm, waiting, the anatomy of breaking, how trauma shapes us. To understand the dangerous calm, we must first examine what it means to be broken and what happens when breaking is no longer a singular event, but a repeated pattern etched into the very fabric of the mind. Trauma is not a momentary crack in our armor. It is a cumulative force, a slow erosion of trust, hope, and expectation. Each disappointment, each betrayal, each loss chips away at the psyche, leaving behind a hardened core, a quiet vigilance that is both protective and isolating. Psychologists often describe this process in terms of learned helplessness, a state where repeated failure or abuse conditions the mind to anticipate pain and betrayal. When we are broken once, we recoil. When we are broken repeatedly, we adapt. Our emotional responses dull. Our reactions become measured, calculated. The mind learns to conserve energy, to avoid the unpredictable swings of joy and despair. This is the calm we see in those who have been broken too many times. Not apathy, but a deliberate, almost surgical self-preservation. It is also a form of desensitization. When the world becomes a source of repeated trauma, sensitivity itself can feel like a liability. The constant sting of disappointment teaches the survivor to endure, to observe, to anticipate. Every interaction is weighed, every word scrutinized, every action measured against the probability of harm. It is not coldness, it is clarity, and yet clarity comes at a cost. The loss of innocence, the erosion of spontaneous trust, the quiet distancing from those who have not walked the same path. Defense mechanisms begin to emerge naturally, almost instinctively. Cynicism, once a bitter choice, becomes a shield. Detachment, once a fearful response, becomes a strategy. Hyper-awareness, once an exhausting vigilance, becomes second nature. The mind, battered but resilient, begins to operate with a precision born of necessity. This is not weakness disguised as strength. It is strength refined by hardship, a quiet mastery forged in the crucible of repeated suffering. History is littered with examples of individuals shaped by relentless adversity. Soldiers who survived multiple wars often spoke of a strange calm that settled over them once the chaos became familiar. Revolutionaries who endured imprisonment and torture learned to observe without reacting, to wait for the right moment to act. Even writers and thinkers who faced relentless personal tragedies discovered that their deepest insights emerged not in the heat of emotion, but in the cold, deliberate reflection that followed suffering. Yet the calm is never neutral. It carries within it an underlying tension, a latent energy ready to be unleashed. The repeated breaking transforms not only behavior, but perception. The broken mind begins to see patterns where others see randomness, motives where others see coincidence, dangers where others see innocence. This heightened perception is a form of power, subtle yet profound. Those who encounter it often sense its quiet intensity, even if they cannot articulate why. And here lies the paradox. The dangerous calm is both a product of trauma and a testament to resilience. It is a state of being that signals both survival and latent potential. The psyche, when broken repeatedly, does not simply fold. It adapts, endures, and prepares. The calm is both a shield and a lens, allowing the individual to navigate a world that has been revealed over and over to be unpredictable, cruel, and often unfair. To witness this transformation is to confront a truth about human nature. We are far more malleable than we imagine. Brokenness, repeated and relentless, does not only wound, it also teaches, shapes, and, in its most refined form, prepares a person to exist in a world they once feared, with an awareness that is both piercing and unnerving. Historical echoes. When societies break, trauma is not confined to the individual. Entire societies, nations, and civilizations experience breaking points, and the calm that follows such collective suffering is often far more dangerous than the chaos that preceded it. History teaches us that the quiet, after widespread upheaval, is rarely peaceful. It is a tension-filled pause, a latent energy waiting for the moment to reshape the world. Consider the Roman Empire in its final centuries. Internal corruption, repeated invasions, and economic instability fractured society in ways that left the population wary and subdued. Yet the calm that settled between crises was not serenity. It was an uneasy vigilance. People adapted to survive, to endure the pressures of declining authority and shifting power. They became cautious, calculating, and in many cases indifferent. This quiet acceptance masked a deeper tension, an undercurrent of potential revolt and change that would eventually explode in transformations the empire itself could not control. Or take the prelude to the French Revolution. Decades of systemic injustice, economic disparity, and political corruption had fractured the societal psyche. The calm that settled over Paris and the provinces in the moments before uprising was deceptive. Appearances of normalcy concealed the simmering fury of those long ignored. The people, broken repeatedly by taxation, famine, and neglect, appeared compliant, but beneath the surface lay a latent power that, when unleashed, reshaped the entire nation. The calm was not weakness, it was preparation, vigilance, and the quiet calculation of forces that had been underestimated for too long. History is rife with these moments of deceptive tranquility, the silent endurance of oppressed populations, the quiet compliance of citizens under totalitarian regimes, or the subtle maneuvering of marginalized groups, all demonstrate a common pattern. Repeated breaking produces a form of collective stillness that is both adaptive and precarious. Societies, like individuals, learn to survive by observing, calculating, and containing their responses until conditions are right. The calm, in these instances, is the psyche of a civilization in reflection, strategizing its next move in shadows and whispers. This is the collective manifestation of the same dangerous calm we explored in individuals. Just as a person hardened by repeated trauma develops detachment, hyper-awareness, and latent potential for decisive action, so too does a society internalize its suffering. The difference is scale, but not essence. Entire populations can cultivate a quiet mastery born from repeated adversity, a state of readiness that is invisible to outsiders but potent beyond imagination. Yet this calm carries with it an unpredictability that is inherently unsettling. Observers who have not endured the same historical pressures often mistake it for compliance, apathy, or defeat. They fail to recognize that societies, like individuals, can store the energy of repeated trauma and release it with transformative, sometimes catastrophic, impact. The stillness of a population conditioned over decades or centuries can harbor the same intensity as a person's vigilant calm. The tension is palpable, and the potential for eruption is immense. Even modern social movements demonstrate this principle. Generations of systemic injustice, economic deprivation, or political suppression often produce an initial silence, a calm of endurance, reflection, and observation. Those who have lived through repeated breaking understand their environment differently. They wait, adapt, and act strategically. When the moment arrives, their responses are precise, informed by years of observation, and often astonishing in their effectiveness. What this reveals is profound. Human resilience operates on both micro and macro scales. The dangerous calm is a universal response to repeated breaking. It exists within individuals and within societies, shaping behavior, perception, and action. It teaches patience, cultivates awareness, and preserves potential for transformation. But it also warns of latent power, quiet yet explosive, a reminder that calm is never mere absence of movement. It is a charged suspension, a tension that can alter history when released. The patterns are unmistakable. Repetition breaks, calm consolidates, vigilance emerges. From emperors and revolutions to oppressed populations and modern movements, the world shows us that the quiet after breaking is never inert. It is alive, watchful, and profoundly consequential. The philosophy of quiet power, the calm that follows repeated breaking, is not merely a psychological response. It is a philosophical state, a mode of existence that has fascinated thinkers for centuries. To endure, to observe, to cultivate a quiet mastery over one's reactions is to inhabit a space where power is measured not by noise, aggression, or visibility, but by restraint, awareness, and deliberate choice. This is the philosophy of quiet power, a dangerous, elegant, and profoundly human phenomenon. Stoicism, perhaps more than any other philosophical tradition, captures the essence of this state. Marcus Aurelius, enduring war, plague, and political intrigue, advocated a life of inner discipline and measured response. He did not claim to control the chaos of the world around him. Instead, he cultivated authority over his own mind. In this disciplined stillness lies the power of the calm, unshakable, deliberate, and often invisible to those who equate strength with spectacle. Existentialist thinkers take a similar view, though with a darker hue. Nietzsche, in his relentless engagement with suffering, framed life's challenges as opportunities for profound self-creation. To be broken repeatedly is not to be defeated. It is to be given the raw material for transformation. Quiet power emerges when one stops fighting the inevitable and begins to shape it, turning adversity into insight, detachment into clarity, and isolation into strategy. In this sense, calm is not surrender. It is authorship of one's own existence. Critical theory, meanwhile, highlights the societal dimension. Individuals and groups who have endured repeated manipulation, oppression, or marginalization often develop a form of quiet power as a survival mechanism. By refusing to react predictably, by observing patterns and withholding immediate judgment, they gain clarity and agency. The quiet observer becomes a subtle force, capable of seeing through deception, anticipating consequences, and acting with precision when the time is right. Here, silence and inaction are not weakness. They are tools, a deliberate withholding of energy to be applied strategically. Yet this philosophy carries a paradox. Quiet power can inspire, liberate, and cultivate resilience, but it can also unsettle, intimidate, and, if misdirected, become destructive. Those unaccustomed to the calm may mistake it for indifference, coldness, or even passive aggression. The danger is not in the calm itself, but in the misreading of it, the underestimation of its latent potency. A person who has learned to endure repeated breaking possesses a subtle authority that is difficult to confront and impossible to ignore once it is activated. The most compelling aspect of this philosophy is its universality. It exists in the soldier who survives countless battles and retains clarity, in the philosopher who reflects in solitude after personal tragedy, in the social critic who observes systemic injustice without succumbing to performative outrage. Quiet power is adaptive, intelligent, and paradoxically active. It acts not through immediate reaction but through measured, deliberate intervention. It is power distilled into its purest form, a calm that is both protective and transformative. Ultimately, the philosophy of quiet power challenges conventional notions of strength. It forces us to question what it means to be powerful, to endure, and to respond. True power, as the broken yet watchful mind demonstrates, is not always loud, visible, or aggressive. Sometimes it is the dangerous calm that precedes action, the calm that waits, observes, and when the moment is right, shapes reality with subtle, unstoppable force. Modern day, the quiet rage among us. The dangerous calm is not confined to history or philosophy. It thrives in the present, quietly shaping the behaviors, decisions, and potential of individuals and societies today. In an age of constant noise, endless information, and relentless social pressure, the stillness that follows repeated breaking has taken on new dimensions. It manifests as quiet rage, subtle power, and an awareness that moves beneath the surface, unnoticed by most but profoundly influential. Consider the modern individual navigating the chaos of social media, public discourse, and systemic pressures. The world is a constant barrage of manipulation, misinformation, and performative outrage. Those who have been repeatedly broken by betrayal, failure, or injustice do not rush to react. Instead, they observe. They catalogue patterns, detect inconsistencies, and cultivate patience. Their calm is not indifference, it is deliberate awareness. In the silence, there is understanding. In the observation, there is preparation. This quiet rage is also visible in the realm of social and political movements. Marginalized groups who have endured repeated systemic oppression learn to act subtly, strategically, and decisively. They withhold immediate response to provocation, bide their time, and strike only when conditions are favorable. The calm that emerges is a form of latent power, an invisible energy that can challenge established hierarchies, disrupt entrenched systems, and create lasting change. History repeats itself in the modern era, not through explosive revolt alone, but through disciplined, calculated, and silent assertion of agency. Individuals embodying this calm often display a profound form of discernment. They are the quiet observers in workplaces who notice manipulation long before it becomes visible. The social critics who see through propaganda and performative morality. The thinkers who comprehend societal patterns while the majority remains distracted. Their calm is the product of experience, the repeated breaking that has honed perception, sharpened judgment, and created an internal clarity that is both protective and potent. Yet this state carries inherent tension. Those who have cultivated the quiet rage often appear enigmatic, even intimidating to those who expect immediate emotional expression or performative engagement. Their silence is misinterpreted as passivity, their detachment as apathy, and their caution as weakness. In truth, the calm is a lens through which they navigate the world, a disciplined focus, a measured awareness, and a subtle assertion of power that can be activated with precision. Modern psychology supports this observation. Studies on trauma and resilience demonstrate that individuals who endure repeated adversity develop enhanced pattern recognition, emotional regulation, and strategic foresight. Their calm is a natural adaptation, a protective mechanism that transforms vulnerability into latent influence. It is quiet, but it is formidable. It is slow burning, but it shapes outcomes in ways that are often invisible until the moment of action arrives. Even in the digital age, this phenomenon has social implications. Those who have been broken repeatedly often resist the superficial validation of likes, shares, and viral outrage. They understand the mechanisms of social manipulation, and they withhold immediate participation, choosing instead to observe and act with intention. The calm becomes a form of resistance, a quiet defiance against the predictable forces of collective pressure. The quiet rage of the modern age is both deeply personal and profoundly social. It exists in the mind of the individual, refined through repeated adversity, and in the collective movements that emerge from generations of suppressed voices. It is the tension that hums beneath the surface of society, the energy that waits to transform observation into action. Those who have been broken too many times are no longer easily swayed, easily distracted, or easily silenced. Their calm is a weapon, a shield and a lens, revealing truths hidden in plain sight and navigating a world built to confuse and manipulate. In the modern context, the dangerous calm is more relevant than ever. It is a quiet force shaping thought, strategy, and social dynamics, reminding us that the power born of repeated breaking is not always loud. It is patient, measured, and waiting for the precise moment to make its presence undeniable. The double-edged sword, calm as liberation and danger. The dangerous calm is a paradox. It is both a gift and a warning, a state of liberation that carries within it the potential for destruction. Those who have been broken repeatedly possess a clarity that is hard-won, a calm that shields them from the chaos of the world. But this same calm, if misunderstood or misapplied, can become a source of peril for themselves and for those around them. On one hand, the calm is liberating. It allows a person to reclaim agency over their mind, to act without being driven by raw emotion or impulsive reaction. Every decision, every interaction is filtered through the lens of experience and reflection. The individual becomes less susceptible to manipulation, less vulnerable to deceit, and more capable of seeing the true nature of people and situations. This clarity fosters autonomy and a quiet power, a form of resilience that is both protective and enabling. The calm becomes a tool, a form of mastery over the self and the world. But the same calm also carries danger. Detachment, when prolonged, can slip into moral disengagement, cynicism, or indifference. When every action is calculated, every response measured, there is the risk of losing touch with empathy, spontaneity, or the human warmth that connects us to others. The mind that has learned to endure and observe may also become capable of cold precision, the kind that can hurt or manipulate as effectively as it protects. Those who encounter this calm may sense its latent energy, its unspoken authority, and feel unsettled by it. History offers examples of this duality. Leaders who endured repeated adversity often displayed extraordinary insight and restraint, yet the same traits sometimes fueled cruelty or authoritarian control. Revolutionaries who suffered under oppression frequently became strategic, patient, and highly effective, but their calm could also hide ruthless intent, their silence concealing power that could be unleashed in ways both transformative and terrifying. The dangerous calm, therefore, is a tension between self-preservation and the moral responsibility that accompanies power. This dual nature is not limited to historical figures. In everyday life, individuals who have survived repeated trauma often navigate social dynamics with subtle precision. Their quiet observance allows them to act strategically, to influence situations without drawing attention. Yet the same detachment can create barriers, leaving others unsure of their intentions or feeling alienated. The calm is both a shield and a potential weapon, a testament to resilience and a reminder of the tension inherent in mastery born from suffering. Ultimately, the double-edged sword of calm reflects the human condition itself. Survival demands clarity, detachment, and focus, but living fully demands engagement, empathy, and connection. The dangerous calm sits at the intersection of these forces, teaching that power is most potent when it is disciplined, and that restraint can be both protective and perilous. The person who has been broken too many times embodies this tension, walking a delicate line between liberation and latent threat, between inner mastery and the moral weight of knowing what silence can conceal. The quiet that follows repeated breaking is never neutral. It is a crucible, forging both resilience and latent intensity. It is a state to be respected, understood, and navigated with care, for within the calm lies both the power to protect and the capacity to transform, to disrupt, or even to destroy. The dangerous calm is, above all, a reflection of the human spirit's capacity to endure, adapt, and wield its hard-earned insight, for better or worse. Conclusion: owning the calm. In the end, the dangerous calm is not merely a product of suffering. It is a testament to survival, insight, and the quiet mastery of the self. It is a state of being that signals endurance, resilience, and profound understanding. Those who have been broken too many times carry within them a clarity that is often invisible to the world, yet immensely powerful. To witness it is to see patience transformed into strategy, silence transformed into authority, and observation transformed into influence. This calm is not weakness. It is not resignation. It is the refined result of repeated endurance, a deliberate choice to act with awareness rather than impulse. Every pause, every withheld word, every measured response carries intention. It is the product of a mind that has survived, adapted, and emerged capable of navigating the most unpredictable and turbulent environments. The calm is a form of ownership, a reclamation of self after life has sought to dismantle it. Yet it is also a reflection of responsibility. The person who wields this quiet mastery must recognize the power it contains. Calm can protect, guide, and illuminate, but it can also intimidate, unsettle, and if misapplied, harm. To own the calm is to understand this duality, to balance detachment with empathy, patience with action, and observation with engagement. It is a continuous exercise in discernment, a conscious negotiation between the inner strength forged through suffering and the moral choices that define how that strength is used. Across history, literature, and contemporary life, we see this pattern repeatedly. Those who endure repeated breaking often emerge not only more resilient, but also more perceptive, more deliberate, and more capable of navigating the complexities of human behavior and social systems. Their calm is both a shield and a lens, enabling insight into the world that those untested cannot access. It is a quiet power, subtle yet profound, shaping outcomes without the need for spectacle or force. Ultimately, the dangerous calm teaches us that strength is not always visible, that mastery often resides in restraint, and that survival is only the beginning of a deeper understanding. It challenges us to reconsider our assumptions about power, resilience, and human nature. To experience, cultivate, or witness this calm is to confront the paradoxical truth of human existence, that those who have been broken too many times can become, in their quiet and deliberate way, the most formidable forces of all. Owning the calm is more than an act. It is a state of being. It is a recognition that silence can be potent, observation can be transformative, and restraint can be revolutionary. It is both a gift and a responsibility, an internal mastery that demands reflection, awareness, and courage. In this space between endurance and action, between suffering and insight, we find the essence of the dangerous calm, a quiet that carries the weight of experience, the power of knowledge, and the potential to shape reality itself.